When it comes to high school, we all have shit memories. Nobody's decision making will be depthful when they don't have consciousness. Even when it was good, it was never all that good. Today, I'm unfortunately here to recall upon a time that has fallen down in infamy. It was a certified bad time. Back in 11th grade, we needed to up the ante and raise the stakes on a daily basis, merely to keep entertained and probably alive with our hormone brains. So we concocted this half scheme idea to smoke gold. And what I meant by that was to roll a golden joint. Surely an absolute premium experience to be had. We wanted that man in the moon weed to get us out of this motherfucking world and to place into our wraps made of gold. But that wasn't enough. We had the brilliant idea of suggesting a boys' feast this night, featuring a steak, a beautiful steak, as the main dish. We fancied ourselves sophisticated philosophers and men of taste. The philosophers in question being me, Roman, Roderick, and Adam. Our combined brain power told us we needed to act fast, or else Adam's plug may take a nap. So Adam texted him at lunch real quick to secure a dub before Mans hit his afternoon weed coma. After school, we hopped in the whip and skirted off. Questing with the boys was never any lightweight situation, you understand. A Socratic philosophical debate carried out inside revolving around how much coinage was required for the night's festivities. If we pooled our money, we had $47, which was probably enough to buy the steak and the weed that we wanted. We pulled up to Safeway and parked the whip to commence the shopping. This was my first time buying meat to cook. I didn't know what to look for, and neither did anyone else. We bought the steak, got in, and got the fuck out of there like that. Adam's plug lived right up the hill, so we zoomed up the hill right after and filled into his basement like weed gnomes. When we got the za, we tell him about our quest and ask him if he knows how or where we could find golden wraps. He goes, "Hold on," as he pulls out a golden cone and a small piece of gold paper. "You can either have a pre-roll for 20 or the filter for free, but you can't have both." This is what I meant when I said high school was shite. This moment right here should have been it all. Anyways, the boys mentally connect for a moment and confirmed that we're all like, fuck this guy. So we grab the filter and head out. Before we leave, he gives us 3 shops that wouldn't card, according to him. With 2 of the 3 ingredients scored, everybody hopped back in Adam's car and set course for the first shop. We for real felt like American navies in this moment. Brave seamen who ventured into unknown waters for booty. As we pulled into the parking lot, Adam said he wanted to go in first, so we blessed his ass with ancient prayers before exiting the vehicle. He comes back empty-handed and looking a tad unnerved. He explains that he went in to find a really chill, young-looking guy behind the counter, but as he started to browse around, he noticed that there was a bit of a switch up. An old guy sat crossing his arms and glaring at Adam from where the other guy was. This did not vibe with Adam very well, so he bolted out the door before he let anything else happen. Exhibit 19 as to why high school sucks. The shit you have to risk your literal life and limb over was never worth it. Looking back, this was not worth the amount of trouble we could have gotten into. From here on out, we decided to call the places to ask if they had any specialty wraps, but the second and third shops that the plug had given us were a no-go. So we decided to Google 24 karat gold weed wrapping paper for sale near me. This turned up some interesting results, and after some more Googling, we narrowed it down to one shop that might have had it. At this point, we're impatient and morally sabotaged after escaping a nearly fatal encounter with the last. As we're pulling into this decrepit looking empty strip mall, we consult the lexicon and find a ritual of protection for our boy Roderick. We gotta buff him with Dark Moon Blade before sending our man out into the fray of Dark Root Garden, bro. This motherfucker Roman starts chanting inaudibly. We wrap up our blessings and Roderick steps out ready to face our collective demons. adults in authority positions in possession of shit that we want. We wait 5 minutes, then like 8, and then about 10 minutes go by and there's still no sign of him. Finally, he comes out and it looks good. He's got that little grin we all knew meant good things. Roderick went sexy beast mode and not only found the wraps, but convinced this guy that he was 21 enough to buy them. So we had the wraps, we had the za, we had the steak, and we had our magical, precious filter. All that was needed now was to assemble the stones like Thanos and rip fat tokes of this golden excellence. Adam's parents still hadn't gotten home yet, so we zoomed over there to prepare the feast. Adam cracks out the pan while Roman and Roderick take over the cooking preparations. Everyone crowds around the cooking skillet watching the steak come up as Adam tries to roll the joint. The problem was that we had not expected the golden wrapping paper to be as thin and slippery as it was. Adam's fingers couldn't really get a good tuck going and fold the paper over. Micro weed nuggets start falling out and I foresee what is about to happen before it does. This moment is God sent. I prophesized the fall of the joint. As we're all there admiring this magnificent cut of beef sizzling on the burner, Adam's hands dip down low, causing every single last crumb of weed to roll out the tip into the steak. Nobody says anything. Then, without saying a word or anything out loud, we all lean forward and start trying to inhale the sizzling weed crumbs off the frying pan. But of course, it doesn't work, so we all cry and piss ourselves for the rest of the night. And that's why high school is ass. At one point, we've all consumed more substances than we can take and lost some sort of bodily function. Whether that's the loss of literal control over your body or the loss of your mind, so you just act on all of your primal monkey thoughts, either way, something is lost. So even if this story is the highest I've ever been, if you've watched me for long enough, you'll know that the only thing that I lose is my shame. I have an ability to hard body substances without ever dropping. So at least originally, this night was going to be planned as a mushroom trip between me, Roman, Adam, and Roderick. And I'll just skip the scene setting because I know you just want to see the drugs. So me and Roman pick up 6 grams of shrooms, stop by the Holy Land for snacks, arrive at Adam's luxurious estate, and get inside to prepare for the Ninja content farm. Also, Cameron was there too, so let's not forget about him. Round of applause for Cameron. Although he was going to be sober and exclusively doing homework on his MacBook this night. So you got the stuff, my brethren? Yeah, bro, I got it right here. Let's just bust this bad boy open. We got gypped, and the plug only gave us 4 grams. So the 4 of us ended up only eating 1 each. Right after eating these mushrooms, Adam, Roderick, and Roman ran off to probably smoke, but me, I'm more reserved than that. I made the respectable decision to stay back and help Cameron with his homework. And it wasn't because I like him or anything. So me and him bust through a good chunk of these questions until these words start to become a little hard to read. And these mushrooms are making my belly feel a little queasy. Those 3 goons that left before bust through the door and instantly and simultaneously start explaining how the mushrooms feel to Cameron for some reason. It's really cool, bro. It makes me feel really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. It feels superfluously awesome. It makes me feel alive. It makes me want to take someone's life. In between my upset tummy and the juxtaposition from solo Cameron time, it felt like I got punched. Boys, I want to do homework right now. Frick you, bro. Fuck off, bro. What are you talking about? I was being bullied. You know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Oh my god. Despite us all having just 1 gram each, they were enough. These were some strong guys. As I had that moment to myself and overcame the queasy, I left the bathroom and everyone was gone. Although, I heard faint music from the porch. As I walked out, I see these 4 are smoking a big dog style cigar in the snow outside, and Cameron was making beats in Logic Pro. Ooh, there's the big homework, baby. What'd you do in the bathroom, bro? Put a diaper on? Did you put a diaper on in the bathroom? Bug homework, bro. Check this out. This was my snapping point. My friends were relentlessly bullying me, and I had to do something now to redeem the great Ninja name I was known for. Give me that cigar, boys. Check this out. Damn, bro, you're not supposed to inhale it. This didn't exactly hit the way I thought it would, but in this moment, a shining opportunity presented itself. Who wants weed, boys? So all of us, minus Cameron, scurry our little feet downstairs into the garage and hop in Adam's classic weed Porsche. Adam pulls out the big dog bong, and I knew this was the time. This was the moment I would fully redeem my stained legacy and go down a legend. I got handed the bong first, and as I held it, all my memories flashed through me like visions. When Roderick called me a homework baby, when Roman said I wore diapers, it would all be sanctified in this moment. I lit up, and as I'm sucking on this bong, I don't let go. I take the biggest bong rip of my life until my lung capacity can't take a single more milliliter of smoke. As I exhaled, the entire car is filled with smoke, and I'm coughing like Walter White. This shit hearted. Afterward, I just lay down in the back of the car while my body recovered. The bong was passed around a few rotations, but I couldn't take any more, so I just waited until we all finally got out. And once I stood up, I realized how high I was. So as we all stumble back to the bedroom, I go up to Cameron and I ask him, "Bro, let me see the laptop, bro." I had a golden joke cooking. I sit down with Roman in an attempt to open Google Images, search for Patrick Bateman, and my joke was gonna be that I said that was Cameron doing his homework. But I only got to search Patrick in the search bar before I hit enter, which brought up Patrick's star, which had this image from an Amazon link to a Funko Pop that the two of us found a lot funnier than the original joke would have been. But then I took it further by clicking on the image, bringing me to Amazon where I bought it. I bought the Funko from Cameron's laptop on his account with his card and shipped it to his parents' house. I was on fire. I was in my element here. Then Adam brings out the vodka and I'm chugging that thing like a Division I football player. Then Adam brings out the canned wine and I'm chugging those things like a Division I football player. I had completed the holy trinity of substances: earth, water, fire, but I was missing air. And I don't normally do this, but I start ripping Roderick's vape. And with all these substances combined into me, I was just like Avatar Aang. I guess my mind was still on SpongeBob because I really wanted Cameron to play the outro song from SpongeBob on his MacBook. But the video Cameron brought up wasn't just the SpongeBob outro. It was, I put the SpongeBob outro over the end of humanity. And as soon as this video came up, I had another golden bit to come to me. One that would even top the Funko Pop one. Cameron, hold your laptop up so that everyone can see. Boys, this video is something I've worked very hard on over the past few years, and I'm so happy to finally have it come to fruition. You didn't make that, bro. That's a YouTube video. They want you to believe that. But let me continue. As you know, my YouTube channel has grown at an extremely fast rate recently, and I wanted to celebrate the monumental achievement of 200,000 subscribers with a celebration that's fitting. So I've planted 200,000 bombs across New York City, and what you're seeing now is live drone footage broadcasted from my channel. But it's not just New York. The more subscribers I get, the more bombs I plant, until even we are engulfed by fire and explosion. It's just my way of saying thank you for all of the support I've received thus far. As you can imagine, that bit killed it. I could confidently say that my name was saved from the disaster of earlier that night. I walked out of the room and into Adam's library, basking in glory. Like I said, he has a luxurious estate. He has a library. And still vaping, I sit on his oversized reading throne until I passed out for the night. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Smoking alone can lead to so many different experiences. Unlike smoking with others, where the dynamic of the group's collective synergy determines the vibe, that vibe is up to you and whatever's going on up in that thick head of yours. In my case, my brain wants to do 5 different things all at once, and I end up led down strange rabbit holes. Just look at this clip I found once.
It's extremely creepy to think about the fact that Mario may be facing a purgatory where he has to face the loss of everyone he failed to protect.
Anyways, during my last late night solo session, I decided to track everything I did in my notes app. So here's what I wrote about the journey. Once I began my high, I realized, yo, I bought this projector the other day just for an occasion like this. So I turned it on and sat in my big chair. I did what I do every time, and I played Snowfall by One Heart on my Alexa. I had created a nice little setting for myself, so I sat back, looked at the ceiling, and existed in it. Then thoughts came over me. I started to have evil thoughts corrupting my mind. The demons were taking over quickly, so before they had a chance to overcome me, I went on my iPhone SE and opened YouTube. The first video that came up on my recommended was called The Quiet Sadness of Mario Galaxy. And after my demonic ordeal, I thought to myself, that's just like me, I gotta watch this one. But as I clicked on the video, I got an advertisement for Pizza Hut's new melts and instantly forgot about everything else. In this moment, all I wanted was to taste these delicious, cheesy new Pizza Hut melts. They looked so unequivocally delicious. All other foods paled in comparison to the melt's greatness. So I clicked on the ad, which sent me to a screen that asked me to make a Pizza Hut account to continue. I tried for like 10 minutes to make an account to no avail, until I saw there was a guest option. But if you're a guest, you still can't order Pizza Hut. God damn it, I can't take this anymore, I'm using Postmates. And then I suddenly got an earth-shattering text message from Roman. Bad news, y'all. My parents are getting a divorce and my dad's in jail. Oh no. Do not fret. Little did I know this message was a bit of a troll. If I had just looked at the message above it that read, Roman, save my divorce voice recordings, I could have pieced it together, but I didn't. The big dog Cole was running a meme sending Roman voice recordings pretending to be his father, saying he was getting a divorce. But again, I didn't realize this. How did this happen? I need to call him. Bro, explain this to me. Yeah, my parents are getting a divorce. My dad's in jail. Really? Yep, he's in jail, rotting and divorced. Well, he didn't seem too bothered by that. Oh god, I'm so hungry. I need that Postmates. I had finally ordered the elusive melts, and while waiting for them, I decided to go back and watch that Mario video. I got probably 1 minute exactly into my viewing until my eyes cheekily shifted down to the first recommended video, being one of those house building process videos. This joint will hit right now, sheesh. As you can imagine, it didn't take long for my brain to start thinking something else. I bet I could build a house. Why don't I just build one right now? I'll play Minecraft and show this guy he could only dream to build a house as good as me. I turned on the PS4 to see the game disc wasn't in, and I'd have to get up from my chair to solve this problem. So I just sat there and did nothing. This allowed my demons, corruption, and evil sludge to coat my mind once again with its wickedness until... Pizza time! Pizza time! Forgetting the existentialism, I instantly ran to the door to acquire the payload. It seems it was just a little too fast though, because as soon as I opened the door... Thanks. It was finally time. The moment we'd all been waiting for. All the blood, sweat, and tears were about to finally pay off in this massive climax of an event. This looks so good. Holy. I took the first bite of the most heavenly food on the face of the planet. It was exactly what the commercial had promised. This melt was quite literally busting in my mouth with every delicate and cheesy bite I took. I devoured the entire thing in roughly 1 minute on my beast mode savagery and then threw myself back into the big chair. I was finally determined this time to finish the Mario video. I wasn't about to let anything stop me. So as I unlocked my phone, I saw it was still on that house making video and I remembered Minecraft was waiting for me. But this time I was changed. After devouring such a great melt, I was feeling formidable and brave enough to get up and put Minecraft into the PS4. I perfectly executed the operation, loaded up a new world, and after 20-something minutes, I made myself the most generic wooden plank house imaginable. Feeling pretty good about this, I opened my phone again, disliked the house building video in an act of ownage and deviosity. Then I got back to my Mario video. Realizing how awesome I was, I felt I couldn't fully relate to the themes of this video as well as 30 minutes ago me would have. But regardless, I watched the whole thing and only paid attention to the visuals and the music since it was all very cute. It was just so nice seeing all of these bright colors and peering into the endless depths of space while listening to the music, that by the end of it, I was feeling a tad sleepy. I stumbled my way back to my bed and lay down. As I was falling asleep, I felt as though I myself was drifting through space just like the Mario man himself. It was truly serene. Okay, that's the video. Subscribe. I feel like everyone's first time eating edibles involves disappointment, quickly followed by a wave of high hitting like the GTA 5 train. It's just unstoppable, leaving yourself floating at the mercy of the sea of THC, just hoping you didn't get too high. It's the classic these edibles ain't shit dilemma. And in my case, my first edibles really were shit because the mixture of THC in these brownies I got were just not evenly spread throughout. I got my first edibles from this one kid I went to school with. I didn't really know the guy, but I knew Roman and he knew the guy, so I trusted the guy. He had baked his own edible brownies he was selling at school, so I decided to jump on the opportunity and I bought 3 of them for Cole, Roman, and me. We got through our day of school with the weekend ahead of us, so we decided to all assemble at Roman's place that night and eat the brownies. And if anything bad were to happen, we had Saturday and Sunday to recover from this. So it's around 6 p.m. and the 3 of us are all bunkered down in Roman's bedroom. We had prepared for the munchies, so we had boxes of Oreos, bags of Doritos, and 3 Happy Meals for the 3 of us. We got our brownies and we prepared to enter the high. Wherever this brownie takes us, we don't know. We could very well come out of this new men. Let us surrender to the high in complete acceptance. There's no fighting what's to come. So after the epic speech, we eat our brownies and we start playing Minecraft. We make a new world with the hopes that we'll make some weird stuff we can look back on when we're sober, but I won't lie, we don't end up playing the game for very long. Just about every 4 or 5 minutes, we're all like, feel anything yet? No. Nah. Damn, I hope we didn't get scammed. After 30 minutes or so pass, Cole just falls over and starts laughing. These brownies hit him hard. Almost as hard as the carbon monoxide poisoning that will be taking out Chains for Real on the 16th of October, 2023 at 4:08 a.m. The 2 of us turn around and this dude is already shredding into the Happy Meal with no remorse. Damn, that shit must have really hit. Seeing Cole act a fool had some kind of chain reaction on me because I started to feel these brownies almost right away and I started tearing into my Happy Meal with no remorse. We get our toys out and at the time McDonald's had Frozen 2 toys, so I got this man that looks like he's made out of literal shit and Cole got the same guy. These toys were also projectiles, so we're just shooting each other with the shit man and losing it. This whole time Roman is just sitting here sober as a doorknob. I mentioned how the THC wasn't spread evenly throughout the brownies. What ended up happening of that was Roman didn't get high at all, while Cole and I got a super concentrated part of the batch. So we're having a good time while Roman just has to assume the parental figure position for the night. It's unfortunate, but Roman never experiences fortune, so it is what it is. The 2 of us completely ignore Minecraft to destroy every crumb of food we have. I start getting thirsty, so I leave the room and I start walking to the kitchen. I see Roman's mom coming in my direction, so I quickly just make a turn to go into the bathroom to avoid her. When I walk into the bathroom, it feels so still. It's a little cold and there's not a sound. I stare at myself in the mirror for like 10 minutes without breaking eye contact, and I just think to myself, damn, I'm really just a guy on drugs right now. My thoughts get broken by a loud thump from outside the room, so I go out and I go back to the bedroom and I just see all the Happy Meal boxes crushed flat on the ground. Cole is just walking around talking about Don Juan, some Spanish dude that seduces women, I guess. I don't really know. I'm like, yo, what was that noise? And I don't even know what Roman said back to me because I just enter a new dimension in this moment. I don't know what it is, but I'm just hit so hard. I tune out the entire external world and get taken somewhere entirely different. I lay on the bed and just focus all my attention on the sound of the Minecraft soundtrack that's still playing on the game we abandoned. Me and the bed just become one being, and I'm like this this for the rest of the night. I don't even notice it, but Cole and Roman leave the room, and apparently they went off on a walk and got chased by a dog or something. I'm not all too sure because I was gone and out for the rest of the night, but that's just what they told me. The next morning, I woke up feeling super tired, but it was also kind of a nice tired. I just felt chill. Roman was fine, but Cole's pants had an entire bottom half of the leg ripped off. I was in such a chill mindset, I didn't even bother to ask, but it seemed like those two really went through some shit. Once the night was over and I had successfully done my first edible, I look back on it glad that Roman didn't get to experience it at all, because fuck him. The Pendulum to a stoner is the equivalent to a peasant's potato farm, meaning it's quite literally the bread and butter of our lives. Because of that, most people end up smoking them for their first time, but for me, this was my second time. I was posted up inside Big Bro Roderick's incredible house one winter evening. We both felt awesome with very impressive looks on our faces. There were supposedly big plans this evening because Roderick was like, I know these 4 people having the biggest, most awesome party tonight, which sounded grand, but there was one problem. Do I know these people though? No. Do they know me? Yes. And that was enough for me to be a little bit hesitant. I don't know, man. They could bully me. Don't sweat it, chap. One little dinghy off this port bow and you'll feel on top of the world. Holy crap, what's that? What is that? It's weed. Boom! This was a top 10 bomba-clot moments of my entire life. As I mentioned, I had only ever smoked one time before this, and the parasites in my brain were starting to speak to me. The same parasitic voices that tell me to peek corners in Valorant, gamble more money, and generally overextend on things I shouldn't were firing. Alright, Roderick, we've done this once before. I don't see the harm in going for a second. Oh god, it hurts so badly. You can't go crazy like that, bro. You gotta take your time. Oh, alright, I'll do it gently. Are you good, bro? Yeah. Alright, my boy, let's head out and drive to this shindig. As we start to drive, all this time in the car allows me to grasp the gravity of the situation I'm in. The world started to change around me in ways I didn't understand, and I felt an awe-inspiring feeling in my fingertips. I could not act right, and I started to go crazy until immediately locking in, because I was about to enter a home I didn't know with 4 people I also don't know. Hey, bro, if they see me like this, what do you think they'll think of me? Oh, I think you're gonna be all good, bro. Oh my god! I had a bad case of the poo-poo eyes from those Pendulum tokes. You look awesome, dude. You'll be okay. Just put on these cool shades and they'll be very impressed with your style. Whoa, I feel like I'm number 1, dude. So as we pull up to the house, there's only one single objective on my mind. I need to convince each of these people that I'm sober, because if they see me high, they're gonna think I'm an addicted bum. We walk in through the front door and there's already a major fork in my plans. Roderick had actually brought me to the hose. I don't even know how to act around the hose when I'm sober, and those pen hits gave me slurp juice brain. Luckily, there was only this one girl named Sarah as we walked in, but I kid you not, she looked exactly like the Fortnite Sunstrider skin. God threw a level 10 baddie my way, and I started getting anxiety, but I couldn't forget the objective at hand. I can't let Sunstrider find out that I'm high. Yo, what's up, Sarah? This is Ninye. Oh my god, Roderick has told me so much about you. Alright, I can't mess up my first introduction. Yo, haha, that's awesome. Okay, that wasn't bad. Alright, I'm gonna go say hi to everyone else. Bye, guys. God damn it, now I'm all alone with her. So why are you wearing those shades in the middle of the night? Off rip, she's going for my weak spot. I gotta change the subject. Are you very impressed with my style? Fuck. Yeah, you look really cool. This is too stressful. I need to go somewhere to blow off a little steam. Alright, where's the bathroom? So we go upstairs and she shows me to the little man's room and I start doing push-ups on the ground like, ugh, fuck yeah, ugh. I'm trying to get a little pump in an attempt to get my head back in the game. But while grunting and moaning on the floor, I can see Sunstrider's feet from under the little crack of the door on the floor. So hopefully she didn't get the wrong idea from my sounds. But I waste no time to text Roderick, I'm afraid of the hose, bro. In which he replies, don't worry, I'll clutch up for you. So as I leave the bathroom, Roderick comes up upstairs with a deck of Uno cards and a bottle of vodka and starts telling us rules like, you two gotta drink every time you draw a card. Sarah, you go first. Bro was taking some big dog initiative in this situation. And then Roderick essentially just falls back down the stairs. Now I'm pretty much locked into playing Uno with this one girl at this point. But I start dicing her up with these draw fours like I'm a professional at this. And in no time, Sunstrider starts getting all bomba clot from the drink. She starts getting into all this girl talk like, I fucking hate my friend Melissa. She fucked my ex-boyfriend last week. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. While I keep pulling out these draw fours like nobody's business. Somehow before I knew it, Sunstrider had inched her way to sitting right next to me. She starts taking whole swigs from the bottle and looks at me like, you haven't drank anything yet. You can't be the only sober one. Let's fucking go! This whole time I had successfully masked the fact that I was high, and her saying that just confirmed it. So I take a celebratory swig, but then she starts doing some weird shiz, like putting her hand on my thigh like, fuck Melissa anyways. But it turns out she drank more than she could handle because she couldn't control the volume of her voice, and she said that really loudly. Before we know it, this girl runs upstairs like, what the fuck did you just say? Turns out Melissa was at the party and heard everything. The two other girls come running up from behind Melissa, and a whole fight starts breaking out before I could process what was about to happen to me. Even this girl's little brother walks out of some bedroom. I didn't even know he was in the house, but he starts to get involved in this. I'm just sitting on the floor watching it all unfold until Roderick slowly walks up the stairs behind them and beckons me to come over to him. He's like, yo, I don't know what's going on, but we should probably leave. I'm down, bro. This place is getting a little too heated for me. So we sneak out the front door and drive away. I start telling Roderick about what happened with me completely washing this girl in Uno with no remorse for her soul. And he drops the biggest plot twist of the night. It turns out he had rigged the cards and made every other card draw in my favor so that the girl would drink more and make the situation less awkward with me. So if there's any takeaway from this story, take your time with the Benjamin because it hits very hard. Before you know it, you'll get anxiety from the hose. Smoking the grass is unironically my career at this point. So you'd think I could hold my own against a little something, right? But this New Year's, I had a man of very high stature and business class offer me some za from his world. And it was like nothing I had ever done up until that very moment. But like I said, it was New Year's. The whole gang was downtown following Roderick around like little baby ducks because he supposedly had a surprise for all of us. So once we all get to the square where the ball drop was going to happen, he leads us all into an office building and up this elevator. Are we even supposed to be here, dude? I don't care. I literally was not asking you. Bro, get me out, sus, get me out. Gentlemen, trust me, we're good. Now collect yourselves and become presentable. We get to the top floor and step into this massive office building overlooking downtown. To my side, there's a table covered with tons of different drinks. Yo, what is this place? It's my parents' office, lads. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see him. It's big man Roderick's very own father. But he explains to the group that throughout the night, all of his lawyer and business friends would be coming through, and that we were all welcome to as many drinks as we wanted. So the boys go feral. Let's go! Hey, give me that. Thank you. You want my vape, bro? All right. Oh, God. I miss her. I miss her, bro. You know, sharing always makes me feel better. Do not fret. Cameron was the sober man that would be taking us all home this night. We were all being very responsible. So we all start opening the office windows and yell nonsense at random pedestrians. Before we know it, the place starts to fill with lawyers. The group breaks up, and in the presence of all of these high-value individuals, I taught some guy's wife how to floss. 10 p.m. was closely approaching, which meant that the first ball drop was about to happen before the real one at midnight. We all link up, look out the window, and despite this not even being the real New Year's celebration, the streets are filled with swarms of people. As we all marvel at this horde, we see a familiar face standing outside. It was our boy Tony. We need to go out there. So we all run down the stairwell and out out the back exit, but as we left the door, we ran past one of the big dog lawyers that I had recognized seeing upstairs, and he was smoking something. So I made a mental note before joining the crowd. We gave Tony monumental greetings until ball drop time was about to happen. We all run to the center of the crowd, bust down excellent style for a few minutes until returning back to the lawyer office, stench and sweat covered from all of that bussing. Back up the elevator, I lead the squad into a small conference room and explain to them, boys, I think there's weed on the premises. I want to get my hands on it before the real New Year's event happens. So we start scouting around the office looking for the guy I had seen earlier. We ended up finding him still at the same spot prior, and as we walked out, the legend offered us some. So we all, minus Cameron, smoked with this lawyer, and before it really hit us, it was quite chill. So once we had our fun, it was back up to the office to devour the sandwich rolls and prepare for battle at midnight. Roman and Roderick start devouring every last crumb like savage berserkers, but I'm feeling a little differently. Yo, guys, that lawyer stuff is really hitting diff right now. How do you feel? I'm gonna go to that conference room again. So I'm sitting in the conference room alone. On the floor, I find a bunch of strings and start assorting them from longest to shortest. These two women walk into the room like, what are you doing? I'm playing with strings to stay alive. And that's all I remember out of that interaction. There was this dude that also came in as well, and he talked to me for like 5 minutes, but I have no memory of a word he said. Eventually, Cameron and Adam came into the room. Bro, we lost Roman and Roderick. Lamau. Do you need to go home, dude? Yeah. Alright, bro, we'll try and call them. And about 18 phone calls were made to Roman's phone, and not one was answered. Cameron and Adam decided they'd face the New Year's storm out in the streets to look for the two, while I stayed up in the office, so they moved out. It didn't take long for me to get bored of sitting in this conference room, so I get up and leave to look out the window and watch the ball drop from there. As I'm staring out this window, I eventually do see Roman and Roderick out there going crazy in the square. I watch them for a few minutes until Roderick walks away to get drinks from a bar or something. So Roman's out there all alone. Then there's this big middle-aged dude pushing his way through the crowd of people for I don't know why. Roman was in big man's trajectory, so once he eventually shoves Roman shoves him back. And then this dude punches Roman so hard that he falls to the ground and the police detain the unhinged big man. After seeing that, I thought, well, I should let them know I found Roman. So I walked down calling Cameron, telling him to meet me at the office entrance. As the both of us link, it's about a minute until New Year's, and everyone around us is going bananas, so we just stay put not to lose each other. Once midnight struck and the ball dropped, I just stared up into the sky completely unmoving and honestly feeling nothing. That za had me a stoic. So where's Roman? I lost him. Damn. Okay, well, I'm just gonna take you home, bro. You're clearly sloshed. I'll find them later. So my handsome little savior drives me back to my place. I get inside, and as I'm taking my stuff out of my pockets, I realized I still have Roderick's vape, but I didn't care and instantly passed out. And if you want to know what happened with Roman after this dude punched him and what went down once I left, you're gonna have to wait 3 months for when Roman makes his own video, because I don't know what happened. Boo-hoo. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. Here's a big one. You people have wanted this. My first time getting high, as it goes for most people, was a crazy experience. Now, I was at my friend Roderick's house. He's a classic guy. He's in just about every story that I tell at this point. Roderick's house was not like any other house. He lives in luxury. A luxury that a poor, under the poverty line boy like me will flip his shit when he sees. I mean, he's got a piano as you walk into his house. He's got a projector as a TV in his living room. This is the shit you see LA YouTubers live in. He lives in the Incredibles mansion. So Roderick was the weed expert that was going to show me his ways, and I was his apprentice. And this wasn't just my first time smoking weed. I should mention it was also my friend Roman's. The three of us were all sleeping over together this night inside Roderick's nice ass house. Roderick was the real homie this night because he said, we can't just smoke a wax pen on both of your guys' first time. We gotta get our hands on the real stuff. What we had to do first was acquire the weed because we didn't have anything at this point. So we were going through the process of asking everyone that we knew on Snapchat if they knew somebody that sells weed until we finally landed on one guy. We pull up to his place and it's not scary at all, but this is my first drug deal. I'm anxious in my mind. What if this dude's got a gun? What if he kills us in cold blood? But then this dude comes out of his house with these big ass goggle glasses. He looked like a real dork. This motherfucker was a certified bozo. We could have given this dude a wedgie for the weed. Once we drove off with the weed, we all just burst out laughing because we were expecting the exact opposite of this guy. We had acquired our first weed. Roman and I were just marveling at its beauty. We felt the weed, we smelt the weed, but most importantly, we wanted to smoke the weed. Before we stopped back at Roderick's, we drove to the gas station and he was like, I'll be back in a minute. This won't take long. He comes back with a bottle of Sprite, a pack of gum, a pencil, and a straw. Yo, what is this all for, bro? You'll see, bro. You will see. So we drive back to Roderick's place, run to his bedroom, and assemble all of our stuff. Roman and I just sit back while Roderick works his magic. He drinks the whole Sprite bottle, takes a gum wrapper, and wraps it over the top. He pokes some holes in the wrapper, and then he stabs the side of the bottle and sticks a straw in. And just like that, we had our own homemade bong made. It was a pretty jank way to smoke weed, and it didn't work all that effectively, but we had to make do with what we had. We were on limited resources. So we smoked out the Sprite bottle, and I don't know what was in this weed, but it affected Roman and I in a way weed has never before since then. In my going for a walk on mushrooms video, I mentioned how the mushrooms made my vision like in Minecraft, how your FOV can increase. In my experience, that's pretty usual for mushrooms, but this was the one and only time that I've had this effect solely from weed. And it wasn't just me. Roman had the same experience with his vision. It was so weird. I don't know what was in this goddamn weed, but it had us looking at things crazy. I was so goddamn giggly too that I just couldn't get enough of these guys. I laughed at everything. It didn't stop. After you smoke a good amount of times, I feel like the giggles eventually just go away. But the first time I had the laughs. Then the fabled munchies kicked in and we had no remorse for the kitchen. We started tearing through everything like savages. There was a fruit bowl in the middle of the kitchen, so I went, don't mind if I do, and wiggled my little fingers. I picked out an apple and there was a fly on the apple, and I don't know why, but this fly scared me. I mean, I don't fuck with bugs. So I threw the apple, I projectile tossed it across the living room, and it hit right into a framed painting and shattered the glass. I don't feel good about this even today, but luckily the painting itself wasn't damaged and his parents were not home at the time. It was fucking loud. They would have known what happened. So we started to panic, but thankfully Roderick is the real homie because he vacuumed up the glass for us. Lord knows, neither of our asses could have functioned a vacuum in our current state. And by this time, I started fucking up the Pop-Tarts and I just forgot about what happened. I wasn't joking when I said we were savages. We were on a real ruffian shit. Roman went back to the room first with his snacks, and as I followed behind him, I entered the room to see that he was unclothed. He was only wearing his undies. He was sitting on Roderick's bed, eating a family bag of chips and watching YouTube videos. I feel like it's almost a universal experience where people smoke weed for the first time and search videos to watch while high on YouTube. And the same videos always just come up too. I know that you have seen this cartoon before. This video had us mesmerized. It was beautiful. We went on a YouTube binge for like over an hour or so, and I couldn't tell you how it happened, but we eventually ended up on Diary of a Wimpy Kid YouTube. We were just enjoying some classics like Greg Heffley is a Sociopath. After we got bored of YouTube, we put on some lo-fi beats, and Roderick had this this light projector that put stars all over the walls, and we fell into a slumber. I was paranoid the following week or so because I thought his parents would have noticed the painting frame that I broke, but they never really did. Because of me, there's a painting with no glass in his house, and to this day, nobody has really noticed it at all. So that was the story of the first time I smoked weed. Okay, bye-bye. I've smoked, I've drank, Lord forgive me, I've even done mushrooms. But in my eyes, all of those are fairly moderate or not bad substances. But this time, doing Molly was the first time I dipped my toes into the deep end and jumped into what I would consider the dark side. And I didn't even mean to do Molly this day. So it all starts at the end of my day. I had just gotten done with a long day of work and I was winding down and, well, I'll just let this video speak for itself.
Doesn't get any better than this, brother. Got my One Piece, my Vizzy Hard Seltzer, and my Lego Vespa. This is gonna be a good night.
When suddenly I got a FaceTime from Adam. I picked it up and I see him with the legend Roderick. They were like, bro, you gotta come over, Roderick's in town. And I hadn't seen him all summer, so I was hype. Yeah, bro, I'll come over, but you gotta pick me up because I'm off the hard seltzer, my boy. So my goons come and get me and take me back to Adam's mansion house. I had to put the brakes on the Lego Vespa, but I had higher priorities to attend to. So we get to Adam's house, run down to the basement garage, and get into the weed Porsche. We had the weed as we entered the car, but what I didn't know was that Adam had a little something else in his current possession. He turns around and reveals 3 different pills for each of us. Boys, I have Molly if we want to try it tonight. Now, I got a bit of whiplash from this. None of the 3 of us had done Molly at all before, so this was entirely out of left field. These 2 were both on board, but I was a little hesitant. Pills are nothing to trifle with. Adam had tested them, so we knew they were safe, but I was still a little sussed out, but also interested in trying them. In classic Ninja fashion, I said yes, but I opened up the pill and only took half. Because if this was gonna kill us, at least it would kill them first, holy shit. So we popped these little guys and waited for our digestive systems to do its thing. We bumped the music and had a little chit chat. After about 15 minutes had passed, this Pop Smoke music was starting to sound a little better than usual. We were enchanted by the woo, and the 3 of us just get so much energy from this music. We step out of the Porsche and decide to experience this in the outdoors. So we go for a sunset walk around the neighborhood. As we walk around, Adam discovers that walking backwards is apparently really awesome. So the 3 of us are walking through the streets backwards, and I imagine it would be a strange cryptid thing to see as a bystander. I remember this moment was when it really started to hit these 2. Adam was staring at the sky like, bro, I'm breaking through, holy shit. It was like that video of the guy doing DMT on CSGO. As for me, I'm not really feeling all that much yet since I only took half the dosage. We get back to the place and I take the other half. For the next half an hour, these guys feel like kings, but I never reached that peak since I spread it out. So we decided to smoke on top of the Molly, and this is where I get sent to the moon and only really remember certain parts of the night. I had smoked that Yarnum pack that had me feeling like a Lovecraftian 5th dimensional being. Before I know it, there's an Uber at the house. I had no memory of ordering one, and I had no idea where it was gonna take me, but I get in anyways. The drive felt like 20 seconds long, but it had to have been at least a 10-minute ride. The whole time, my consciousness is just shifting in and out, and it felt like I was teleporting down each block. We get dropped off at this trail, and despite being a place that I go pretty often, I was like, bro, where are we? It was so dark, I couldn't even see the ground I was stepping on. I just moved my feet forward and trusted that I wouldn't trip or run into anything. I remember saying, guys, I need you to look after me right now, I'm too fucked. Which was absolutely true. If I was alone out here, I would have been no better than the wild animals. I would have slept in the fields or something. It was so dark, my depth perception was all fricked up, and the trees looked like 2-dimensional images. images. I didn't even feel like I was walking. It was like I moved in place while the world spun under my feet. The trees were coming at me. I wasn't walking towards the trees, if you know what I mean. Before I know it, I'm in another Uber going home. We get back to Adam's place and it was somehow 4 a.m., which is just an absolutely devilish time for me. Mind you, I go to bed at like 9 p.m. on a normal day, so I passed out. I wake up at like 6 a.m. and I get a ride home on my feeble 2 hours of sleep. And you would think it's over here, but that's not the end of the story. For the rest of this day, I'm just tired and chilled out, building my Lego Vespa and watching shows on the telly. Until about 6 p.m. hits and I get another FaceTime from Adam. Come over, bro, we got more Molly. We're taking it again. I was like, what the fuck are these people doing? They're gonna stay up for 2 days non-stop on Molly. What the fuck? So I head over to Adam's place and he still has Roderick over there, but also my boy Kevin is partaking in this unholy day. This time I'm purely here to observe. I'm not doing it again until Adam offers me mushrooms. So you know, I won't lie, I ate a little bit, but just a little, not that much. The four of us Uber to Safeway for yummies. We walk in there looking sus as hell. I can't stop smiling. I try my hardest not to, but it's just something I couldn't do, man. I end up buying an entire box of donuts and we Uber over to the park for a walk. We get dropped off by my boy Cameron's house, who lives by the destination, and he comes out just because he hears us outside. Just like that, my little party has grown to 5 people, and I'm handing out these donuts like I'm Mr. Beast philanthropy. From a storytelling perspective, this walk doesn't really have much to talk about. It was really just a fun and peaceful time. A late night walk out with the gang through the forest was just really nice. The entire walk, somehow, Cameron didn't catch on that the 4 of us were on drugs, which I think is really funny. Lord knows I'm not doing anything harder than Molly, especially not lean. Looking back on it, I don't think I'd do Molly again. It's just a little too intense for me. Mushrooms are where I draw the line. I'm sure a few people are gonna want to do Molly from this video, and if you really want to, I can't stop you, but if you're going to, you gotta test it like Adam did. Pills are not something you want to take risks with. All right, my 85.4% men, 12.4% females, and especially you 2.2% unspecified. Thank you for 10,000 subscribers. That shit is epic as hell. Bye. Being high and alone is something I like, but you know what isn't? Addiction. And if you're watching this video, there's a 99% probability that we share the same addiction, and that's short form content. I go on these Johns just about every non-consciously waking moment of my life. So this particular night of me being high and alone served to free me of this terrible addiction, because every time I opened short form content throughout the night, I made myself eat an extra edible in an act of hopefully stopping my addiction. But it only kinda worked. Here's what happened. Right off rip, after eating this gummy, I cleaned my entire house. I was an unstoppable force of cleanliness off these gummies. But afterward, I quickly went back to my addiction. Not YouTube Shorts, I mean gambling.
This is gonna be huge. I'm gonna open a freaking case, dude. Holy crap. Oh, alright.
But I felt that if I was to truly free myself of addiction, I probably shouldn't make exceptions. So I ate another gummy after this as well. Then I instantly opened Snapchat and went onto the shorts because I'm not very smart, which meant another one down the hatch. I had already eaten 3 gummies, so I knew I needed a foolproof strategy that would ensure I wouldn't watch any more shorts. I decided to attack the problem at its roots, which is my attention span. I needed a way to fully reset my mind, and my idea to do so was a kind of strange approach in hindsight. The plan was to sit down in an empty room and just exist with myself and my drywall. I sat there and stared at drywall with as much mental focus as I could possibly exert for as long as I could. I would start to feel my focus wavering periodically. The only thing this ended up actually accomplishing, though, was giving myself a headache, which is ironically exactly what YouTube Shorts do as well. Alright, so the drywall strat, it's not working. Maybe I just watch full-length YouTube videos instead. Maybe that will fix me. This was a worse idea than the drywall. The YouTube app did that thing where it opens into shorts, so I start watching a handful of these before realizing what I've done. I ate another edible, but to be honest, YouTube Shorts had admittedly fed me some interesting slop this time around. I was watching a big, strong, shirtless, hot man climb a boulder, which got me in a real mood to watch more men climbing rocks. I was relentless with the men rock climbing videos. I watched Olympic climbing. I watched little men climbing. I watched big men climbing. All this climbing made me want to climb myself. So I bought a membership at a climbing gym. I haven't used it yet, but eventually whenever I do, I bet it'll be pretty cool. In an attempt to feel the triumphant victory of climbing rocks, I ended up climbing onto my bed from the floor, which isn't as impressive, but I thought it was pretty cool. Then out of left field, YouTube recommendation threw a real curveball at me. Teen Titans Go movie magic. This video hit the spot like nothing before. This show is just so goated. I was watching it so involved and entranced by the funniness and bright colors. Although I was really lost in the plot here. I didn't realize this while I was high, but this is actually like 5 videos strung together into one. Somehow I still managed to follow some kind of plot despite there not being one, which is something quite impressive. But this whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about how funny Robin was. This dude has to be the best written character of the millennium. I really came to realize the delicate intricacies of his character here. The only downside of this show is that it's bright and fast and really cool. Just like everything else, it was bad for my attention span. I needed to find some other method to fix myself. I search on Google how to slow attention span and find this article. After reading it, at the end, they recommend behavior therapy, which I don't need. So the article was shit and it didn't help me at all. Considering that the other things in this article were chewing gum and drinking water, I came to realize after reading this that I'm actually doing everything perfectly and optimally for fixing my attention span, if that's really all it takes. I guess I'm just left to live in torment and evil constantly. Afterward, I went down a massive YouTube rabbit hole, so I'll just give you some of the good ones before I went bye-bye sleep time for the night. And trust me, the last one will change something in you. So I watched how to turn a Lego man into meth. Then I watched pirate videos about how to be pirates. Those ones were pretty sweet. I learned how to become the Pope. I watched this video and legitimately did not listen to one word for the entire 30 minutes. I watched for an hour about the Napoleonic Wars. I've never given a squat about history at all in my life, so I don't know why I watched this, but it was interesting. I found out how to board an airplane. Then I watched a ton of these kid gaming videos and they went so hard. But the biggest video I watched was this one. This video is something special. Anyways, subscribe. Listen, smoking can be fun and all, but anyone who's done it consistently knows that it can get stale. If you think about it, it probably makes sense scientifically. After you feel the same stimulus, you'll eventually grow jaded to it. But people who don't smoke almost always take the high experience in entirely new ways. So I decided to get a group of friends together that have never smoked to test this hypothesis. I don't have a lot of friends though, so it was only 2 people, so please don't comment on that. But my lucky individuals were the legend Cameron and my friend Jaime. Jaime showed up to my house first, and completely unannounced to me, he came in full Joker face paint. When I saw this, I got the feeling that this night was gonna be really funny or really scary for Cameron. I didn't know how he'd take this once he saw it high. But eventually, young Cameron pulled up, and I gave the 2 of them edibles because they didn't want to hurt their little lungs. So while we're waiting for these to hit, I really start hyping the whole thing up to these guys. Alright guys, listen, this is gonna actually change your lives. This is gonna be the best experience that you've ever had. And Jaime was like, hee, I'm the Joker. And not even 10 minutes after consumption, Cameron swore he could feel it already. That was cap though. It was all placebo at this point, but he believed it with his whole heart. It didn't help that Jaime started gaslighting him like, yeah, you definitely feel it, man. I think I'm actually starting to feel it too. Holy fuck, I'm so fucking high. So Cameron lays on the bed thinking that he's already high, while Jaime just starts getting into my PC. There was very little time before Jaime just opened Steam and bought Honey Pop with my credit card. Trust me, I didn't own this game beforehand. I got a little pissed because bro really thought he was the Joker and intruded into my things, but the game didn't cost that much, so I let it slide. The only thing I hoped for is that once this gummy hit Jaime, this game didn't make him go off and do something the real Joker would never even think of doing. After 30 minutes, these gummies actually started to hit Cameron, and he explained it was like it felt like he was driving a car. Bro is laying on his back with his arms up in the air like, oh my god guys, I'm going so fast, I can't slow down. And as soon as he stood up from the bed, Jaime charged him holding a yoga ball, screaming, holy fuck, there's a car coming, and launching Cameron back into the bed. Bro would not let Cameron get off the bed. Every time he tried to get up, he just got launched back to where he started. I was watching him get bullied before my very eyes, but I decided not to intervene. So after Cameron got launched a few more times, he started explaining how the impact of every crash was turning his insides into mush. He used the analogy that he felt like an orange that still had the peel intact, but the fruity inside part was smashed. This is when I decided to actually make an intervention, and I stole the yoga ball from Jaime. He was getting a little too in character with that Joker face paint. Jaime started throwing a little hissy fit and crying, so he walked away and started playing Honey Pop again. So I took the opportunity to really interview Cameron. So Big Dog, explain to me how you're feeling, Big Dog. And bro started smacking his lips together super loud. This was some audible lip smacking until he explained, my mouth tastes really good. Like, I feel like I don't have to eat anymore for the rest of my life because my mouth tastes so good. I'm like, damn, that's crazy, Big Dog. And upon further inspection, the reason that he felt this was because all the impact from that yoga ball made him bite his tongue and he was slightly bleeding. I didn't want to bring attention to all that, so my plan as the professional in this situation was to give him yummy food and hopefully he wouldn't notice the blood in his mouth. So I'm like, are any of my little boys hungry? And immediately those two go feral. Those first time munchies hit hard. So I pull up the classic McDonald's Postmates and Jaime takes my phone like, let me pick what I want. I'm the Joker, baby. Chicken nugget. I want chicken nugget. I'm on it. Let's get some of these chicken nuggets. So Jaime starts spamming the chicken nugget button and orders 50 chicken nuggets to my damn house. As an empathetic individual, I knew the long wait for the Postmates to arrive would be harrowing and brutal for these two. I decided I needed a distraction so they wouldn't complain about it taking too long, mainly Jaime. So I pulled out the iPhone projector and started playing Five Nights at Freddy's Game Theory lore videos because I know Jaime loves those. After not even getting a few minutes into the video, I came to the realization this was actually a terrible mistake because it started to make Jaime genuinely tweet. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the worst thing to ever happen to the series. What is Blood yapping about?
I don't know, man. I'm just really hungry.
It totally has all the pieces for a dream theory to be true, but no. Is this like an issue? Like, should we stop him? I don't know if this is bad for his health. Why is the Chica toy missing its beak? I don't know, man. What does any of that mean? And what the fuck is Juniors? Why don't people realize FNAF 3 takes place in 2015? 30 years refers to 30 years since the original murders in 1985. Not 30 years since the first game. That makes no sense. Luckily, the Postmates notification cut him off and it was chicken nugget time. Let's go. So we ran downstairs, got the food, ran upstairs, but as me and Cameron got to the bedroom, we decided we needed water with the nuggets so that we didn't choke to death. Before we went back downstairs though, I decided to snap a little picture of the scene in front of me. Because seeing Jaime in Joker face paint playing Honey Pop with 50 chicken McNuggets was something I didn't want to forget. But unknown to us, this would quickly become a top 10 moments caught before disaster image. So we go downstairs, fill up the water in the slow refrigerator faucet and head on up. And in that short amount of time, Jaime had eaten every single one of the 50 chicken nuggets. What the fuck happened to the nuggets, dude? Oh my god, no, why? And he just stared and laughed. The worst part is he didn't even eat these nuggets because he was hungry. He ate them because he thought it would be funny if we came back and they were all gone. And considering that he ate 50 nuggets in the period of a few minutes, it didn't take long for Jaime to run to the bathroom throwing up. And honestly, he deserved it at this point. Bro has been acting a fool for hours. He deserves to feel some of the pain he inflicts on others for a change. Immediately after he finished at the toilet, he got right back to playing more Honey Pop as if nothing happened. He had a serious grind to commit to still. Cameron, on the other hand, wasn't feeling all that great after the nugget disaster. Bro was crying his eyes out and bleeding from the mouth like, I'm so hungry, bro. Is there any more food left, bro? Yeah, dude, there is. I just need to go get it from the kitchen. So I gave Cameron the iPad with CoComelon while I went to order more McDonald's. Cameron immediately became demobilized and fell into the CoComelon trance. But unbeknownst to him, I was about to pull a little debauchery on him because I wasn't about to pay for another McDonald's order. I went downstairs into my kitchen trying to find some good mulch for the boys to eat. I came back with a big bag of Doritos and told the lads that I got the new McDonald's Doritos, my boys. They taste so good. They're way better than the standard ones. And that was enough for him to immediately forget about what Jaime did. I tried to go up to Jaime and ask, so bro, like, how does it feel for you right now? And the only response he would say is, fuck man, I'm so fucking high, man, holy fuck. To then immediately lock back in and play more Honey Pop. I don't know why he was so locked into this game, dude. Like, he either truly wanted to play this goofy video game all night, or he was just so committed to playing a character that he wouldn't break it for a second. The only eventful moment beyond this was when Cameron dropped the iPad on his face. It seemed that at this point, the night had brought itself to a stalemate. Going back to my hypothesis, the gummies happened to turn Jaime into more of an evil person than he usually is, and it turned Cameron into a toddler. To be honest, I don't think they took it very differently as non-smokers, but also maybe I chose the worst sample group imaginable, I don't know. But anyways, that's the video. Subscribe, bye! So not too long ago, I got pretty close with my plug to the point where I just kinda would chill at his place, smoke, and play some games with him. If you've ever been over to one of your plug's places, you know they always have the best cribs. This guy had those big old couches in his basement, the ones that kind of go all around the room in a C type shape. He had bean bags. There was even a little aquarium so you could watch fish swim around while you're off that Zaza. It's always just the prime place to be. I live in a fairly smaller town too, so this guy wasn't just my plug, but the plug. This guy would just leave the door open and let people come into his home, pick up whatever they were getting, and go on their way. So people were constantly in and out of the place throughout the night, and I got to see a lot of interesting people and interactions in this time. The thing that set this guy apart from any of the other plugs that I've ever known is the way that he makes his transactions. He's got his Cash App and his Venmo set up, of course, and he takes cash, but that was only when there was money involved. Sometimes the things this guy would take weren't even money. This guy would be trading the most random things for his weed as long as it interested him enough. Hey bro, I got this tire here. I've dismantled it from like a neighboring resident's vehicle if you're interested in that. Oh yeah, bro, that'll be an ounce. If someone comes in with a Slinky and he wants it, he'll trade it for weed. Somebody comes in with a Happy Meal from McDonald's, if he's hungry enough, he'll trade it for weed. One time, some guy came in with a fish in a bag, like those little carnival fishes that you win. He thought that the plug would want it to add to his aquarium that he had, but he just turned the guy down, which I think is pretty reasonable. This guy would collect such an amalgamation of the most random items as long as he wanted them. One of the most legendary moments was when this guy traded his PS5 and a controller with a copy of Demon Souls for a half pound of weed. We stayed up all night playing with this thing. It was a blast. We had a few friends that would stream on Twitch too, so we pulled them up on the PS5, and the plug would just type things in the chat like, if you ace this round, we'll give you free weed. He would act like he was Mr. Beast giving out money, but it was gas, bro. He was giving out weed. One of the strangest things that he traded for weed was probably a 12-piece chicken McNugget from McDonald's for a gram of weed. These guys just pulled up up to buy some weed from him, and he saw they had McDonald's in their car, and I guess he was just that hungry, so he decided to make the trade. But that's not the only time that he would trade food for weed. Matter of fact, food was probably one of the most common things that he would take from people. He would even text previous customers if they would bring him food for weed, and they always would. This guy had the whole town at his fingertips. This was his own personal DoorDash service. I'm pretty sure there were even a good amount of days where he was just straight up not profiting because of the amount of food he would have people bring him would not be proportional to the cost of the weed. He was addicted to that late night Taco Bell cheesy gordita crunch, so much so that it was putting him out of business. There was even times where what he would be trading weed for were not even material objects. Hey bro, if you can do a backflip, I'll give you some weed. All right, good job. Now do another one. All right, good job. There you go. I was tight enough with this guy that he would even let me get in on this. And I won't lie, I'm a pretty strong young boy. I would be testing my physical capabilities with these customers. I'd be arm wrestling everyone in town on a 15-game win streak. I'd be doing push-up competitions with these random customers, racing guys up and down the streets. I was letting no one get their weed. I was the gatekeeper. No one got past me. I would be in the gym training just so these people wouldn't beat me for the weed, except for this one dude. His name was legitimately Magnus, and he was just outmatching me in every physical way possible. He was claiming all the weed for himself. That dude was a legend. Being friends with the Plug is just an all-around good experience. You get good deals on their stuff, and most of the time they're pretty cool people. There are some weird experiences like that fish guy, but I imagine that's just exclusive to my situation.
Real quick before this video ends, I want you guys to understand how grateful I am for all the support that I've been getting on these videos. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. Thank you. Subscribe.
These big old doohickeys are notorious for being the kings of smoking equipment. Just look at this list, it's at number 1. And it's for a good reason. Anyone who's ever used one knows just how lethal a few hits can be. And I did 10 big hits living to tell the tale, baby. I was in a smoke competition with this guy that is genuinely unhinged and vile as a person, but we'll get into that. It all started in one of my stacked classrooms. I had Roderick, Adam, Roman, need I say more? But there was one unnamed mystery individual in this class as well. No one knew him, but also everybody knew of him. He'd always be dressed up extremely classily. He had this pot hat he always wore. He had those anime hoodies and his classic lightning bolt Crocs. The dude dressed so loudly despite never speaking a word once, until Roman did his talking to strangers thing and came up to the squad like, yo guys, I talked to the Croc guy, he seems kinda cool, I'm gonna hang out with him. But then I'm gonna hang out with him quickly turned into we all hang out with him because the three of us were just too curious to meet this guy. We had to be there. So the plans were made, of course, at Adam's magnificent property. The day had come and the boys were all dressed up head to toe for Croc Guy's arrival. As he burst through the front door, we were all pleasantly surprised to see he was still sporting that iconic look. Considering his hat, we wasted no time to get to the point. You wanna smoke? Sure. So we get the equipment and all tiptoe downstairs ready for smoke time. So how often you smoke that epic, bro? Just about every day. Oh, alright. So you think you can do more than I can? Well, why don't we find out, So I grab that thing, take a hit, and pass it over to him. It goes around its rotation about 3 more times before the big man Adam has to tap out. 2 more rotations and Roderick taps out. Then ultimately, once we get to the 7th hit, I look over at Croc Guy and he says to me, I can't do this anymore. So me and Roman do a celebratory dance to commemorate victory. victory. I feel on top of the world. We need to go to the gym. So we go into Adam's home gym. Like I said, he's got quite the estate. And me and Roman start hitting this punching bag with no remorse for our hands. In the face of success and 7 bong rips, there was no pain to be felt. But Roman must have had some serious demons because he took it pretty far, but he's the unhinged one, so it's not unexpected of him. After we broke our actual hands, we walked back over to meet with the group downstairs. But it's important to note, as we walked back, I was walking behind Roman. We were met at a crossroad where going left would lead us downstairs, which was where everyone was, but going right would lead us to Adam's bedroom, where I could swear I heard some kind of noise from. But I had thought that everyone was still downstairs. Did they come up to Adam's room? Roman didn't hear this, so he kept walking without realizing I had stopped behind him. So I turned alone and walked towards Adam's bedroom, and as I walked in, I see the croc guy laying on the floor, but I didn't see anyone else. Yo, what's up? No response. I walk closer, and I see he's passed out in a weed coma of some sort. But as my eyes wander down, I see the croc guy is, exposed. I'm frozen for a moment before I slowly just walk out of the room to not make a noise. Bro, what was that? I knew we should have never hung out with the croc dude. Oh my god, I need to tell everyone else about this right now. Once I got downstairs, I see Roderick freestyling and I freeze up again. Being as high as I was, I realized it would be pretty awkward to explain the situation to them. So alternatively, the plan was to naturally lead them into finding out themselves. But before I said anything, there was one absolutely fire bar Roderick said during his freestyle, which went along the lines of, "She didn't want to fuck me, but she should have." After that heat was spoken, I said, "Guys, let's all go upstairs." "Okay, but let's smoke more." So we do the bong rotation 3 more times before going upstairs, and I'm just hammered. I am smashed from these hits, dude. As we walk up and towards the room, Roman yells out, "Bro, we need to go to the pool. I want to see what the water looks like." So the great croc guy reveal was delayed while the 4 of us sit by Adam's pretty sweet indoor pool. But to be honest, because of all those extra bong rips, I kind of forgot at this point the trauma that I had seen earlier. Something had snapped inside of me just out of nowhere at this pool because I'd start talking to myself. "We're going to war, boys. This is gonna be the end." "What are you talking about, bro?" "We're in the cryopod, bro. We're freezing ourselves in the cryopod before we go to die at war on the fire planet." "You're on something else right now." "Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about." "Tell me, should I die for my family or for my country?" "Definitely the country, bro." "Yeah, definitely. When I'm out there, I don't have a family." I just created an entire headcanon in my mind that we were these space soldiers. I don't know where it came from, but it was funny. "We should leave the pool. Roman, that was a shit idea." As everyone left, I kind of lagged behind for 30 seconds or so before I got up. And because of that, I exited out of the wrong door because I'm directionally impaired. I ended up on the other side of the house in the living room. There was jazz playing, the Christmas tree was set up, dim lighting. This was the absolute peak environment to be in. So I sat down for a minute alone to take in the environment when my peace was suddenly interrupted by screaming at the other end of the house. Then I finally remembered that atrocity in Adam's bedroom that I forgot about, but I didn't bother to go over there since the situation I was in was just too good. So I just laughed about it alone from a completely different end of the house while my 3 friends just went through torture. I couldn't be bothered when I was this high and cozy. Eventually, I just kind of fell asleep and the boys handled it. I don't know what exactly they did to the croc guy, but whatever happened was surely a solution. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Once you enter the demon realm of young adult life, the dynamic of Halloween shifts from candy time to party time. But that is not a memo I accepted. I still wanted to go out and collect some candy booty. I didn't want any of that booty, you know what I mean? So during my freshman year of college as a dormitory resident, I had my eyes on a different prize than my colleagues. So I'm sitting in my dorm room alone on Halloween, dressed as Batman with a fire in me to make something funny happen. There's this girl girl that lives down the hall I kinda knew, so my plotting started with her. My awesome plan was to go to her dorm room door and trick or treat. I'd get a few laughs, maybe a piece of candy, and I'd call that a W. So I knock on the door like,
I am Justice. Trick or treat.
oh my god, you're so funny, I've got just the thing for you. She gives me a Skittles bag like, don't eat too many. But I'm just popping off. I had been living impoverished off PB&J sandwiches the past month, so this was essentially gold. Before I leave, she adds, I'm having a little get together in a minute, so if you want to come over, you can. So I'm like, sure, I'll go over, knowing damn well I'm not going back to that place. I got my loot and that's all I wanted. I get back to my room and I'm snacking on these delights, probably watching Hunter x Hunter. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I'm really high right now. The fuck? On closer inspection, these were edible Skittles, but I mean, they hardly show it. I was like, why'd she give these to me? Honestly, I was fine with eating edibles since I didn't have anything better to do, but I just thought the situation was weird. So I go back to her room to see if she meant to give these to me, and as I knock on the door, she answers it like, oh my god, you came, come on in, come on in. I had forgotten she had a little get together I was invited to, and I didn't want to be rude and leave, so I went in, and when I saw this place, this was not how I imagined her little get together at all. It had to have been some kind of sorority party because there was like 10 girls essentially wearing lingerie, and then me dressed as Batman. They were drinking, playing games, and I'm completely out of my element and pretty high. I'm a married man. I can't be put in situations like this. So I'm like, yo, this party is epic. I'm gonna go get some water. I fill up my glass and just sit at the kitchen counter alone, trying to think of the quickest way to get out of here. I text the big man Adam to come to the door and get me out of here. I give him the room number and I say to just open the door and ask for Batman. But I didn't get a moment to see if he replied because this girl comes up to me and sits at the counter. Hey, what are you doing over here? And this is when I made a decision I look back on as highly questionable. I was new to college and I didn't want to taint my name so soon and be known as the Batman guy that sat alone at the party. So what I do is I go full Batman mode and protect my identity by speaking like Batman.
I'm just thinking about criminals, you know.
Haha, that's funny. You should come over and play games with us. It may have not been the best decision, but I ate a lot of those Skittles, and these people were drunk enough I could speak like Batman all I want without repercussions. This girl takes my arm, pulls me over to a beer pong setup, and hands me a ball. I didn't want to drink. I'm already zooted beyond belief, so I'm aiming between the cups so that the ball just hits the edge and bounces away. And this whole time, I'm just hoping that Adam got my text and would come through the door and save me. The more I miss, the more these people are chanting for me to get a ball in. Eventually, one of the balls land, I gotta drink it, and they're chanting for me to get more. So I do one more, and then they chant again for me to do one more. They just don't want me to stop drinking and getting these balls in the cups. I realized that this is just gonna keep happening forever, and I can't keep this up anymore. So I used the tried and true stalling method.
I need to go to the bathroom.
I check my phone to see if Adam's on the way, and I stand in this bathroom for like 5 minutes until I got out because I don't want to be in there for a suspiciously long time. I walk out and see the girl that invited me here. I walk up to her and I'm like, yo, did you know those Skittles were edibles? Yeah, I know you like weed, so I thought you'd like that. Huh. I guess that makes sense. Then all of a sudden, the door busts open. Adam is dressed as an Among Us and shouts, I need Batman! I'm like, duty calls. And the two of us sprint out of the party and back to my room laughing the entire way. Bruce Wayne was safe and back in the Batcave and could watch anime all he wanted without the distraction of sorority girls. I repaid Adam by giving him the rest of my Skittles and I passed out into a weed coma. Alright, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye! I haven't gotten high in school very often, and anyone who has gotten high in school would know why. It always sounds like a good idea at first, but in practice, it can be so goddamn scary. Now, this story isn't just about me getting high, but instead the whole squad was smoking in class. And under those circumstances in mind, you know shit had to have gone down, and it did. So it was the first day back to school from summer break, and it was the morning of that day before the classes had started. As the nature of the first day of school goes, I was pissed off. And so was my boy Roderick, the same guy from the mushroom story. We were pissed we had to be back in this place, but it also was sick to see everyone I didn't see over the summer. So we were greeting everyone in the grade, catching up in the hallways, when none other than the man himself, Kevin, comes through the doors, beelines straight to the two of us and whispers in our ears, "Bro, meet me in the handicapped stall real quick. I got something to tell you." Which, may I add, is an insane way to greet someone on the first day back from summer break, but we followed him into the bathroom to see what was up. As we walked in, Kevin is standing on the toilet like he is about to give a speech to us and says, "Guys, none of the three of us want to be here. Wouldn't you guys agree?" And we nodded our heads in agreement. "Then why don't we go somewhere else?" And this guy pulls out not just one, but 3 different wax pens, and our mouths are agape. Keep in mind, I rarely smoked at this time, so to see not just 1, but 3 wax pens that this dude had brought into the school was the craziest thing I had ever witnessed. I was like, no way we're smoking right here and right now. And Kevin said, "Not yet. See, I've been dreading the first day of school for a long time now, so I've thought up a way to make it a little more interesting. I want to play a game. We each carry a pen on us for the entirety of the day. Every time somebody says some dumb shit, you have to take a hit. And if you don't get caught all day, you get to keep the pen. But if you get caught, you owe me $50. In one moment, I was going about my ordinary day in school, and in the next, I'm choosing which pill I'm gonna take, and you know I took the green pill, and so did Roderick. I won't lie, the speech had us getting hyped in this bathroom stall. If anyone was in the bathroom at the time, I feel like they probably would have gotten the wrong idea. But anyways, we had to plan our day. We all brought out our schedules to see which classes we shared. I shared Spanish with Roderick, math I was with both, English I was alone for, and study hall I had the 2 of them again. But the bell rang and me and Roderick headed over to Spanish and departed from Kevin. As we walked into the classroom, we agreed we wouldn't sit next to each other, so if one person came down, the other wouldn't come down with them. And it would be easier to stay undercover, so we both sat in the back corners of the class. The class started and the teachers were going over the syllabus when this kid raised his hand and asked, "When we get our assignments, do you want our names in English or Spanish?" Me and Roderick just stared at each other from across the class after that. We knew what we had to do. As soon as the teacher turned around to the whiteboard, we took a hit, but then she turned around and we just had to hold in the smoke until she turned around again. And once I did, I started coughing loud. I couldn't hold it in that long. So I crossed my arms and put my head down, and no one thought anything of it, but it was close. The class went on and we got out of that one safe, although those wax pens, if you've ever smoked them before, hit hard. So even though I only took 1 hit, I was already feeling it as we walked to math. We got to the class first, and as Kevin walked in, he looked so fucked up. I was like, "Bro, what happened to you?" And all he replied with was, "It was Liam, bro." And then just took a seat before I could respond. Lord have mercy on his soul. Let me tell you, math was a dreadful class to get through. Not because of the challenge. We didn't even have to smoke once during this period. It was just the munchies, bro. Lunch was the next period, and I was fiending for that school lunch. The most entertaining thing that happened to that class was that I sat across from Kevin, staring him straight on, and he just kept nodding out of existence and coming back. This guy was on another planet, and it was only 10 in the morning. Once lunch came, I spent like $20 on snacks, but they were all out of the vending machine, which was a process I did not have the patience for. Waiting for the food to come down just felt like an eternity. The squad linked up, and I tried to get more information on what happened to Kevin during first period. Can you elaborate on what happened to you earlier, bro? Liam, bro, he had to introduce himself, and he said he likes kids. He didn't realize how bad that sounded, bro, but he really said it. And to be honest, me and Roderick, we just decided to take a hit right there after hearing that out of respect for what he had gone through. Once the bell rang, I started stressing because my next class was alone. I lost my supports and I had to face English class like a real stoic man. I sat down. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I do know that some kid said something that I had to smoke to. So I had to take a hit. Then the guy next to me leans over and looks into my eyes and just nods. I was sitting next to the school stoner Bradley. Bradley saw this and asked, "Yo, can I get one, bro?" So respectfully, I handed him the pen and with no remorse for his own life proceeded to blow it straight into the air, and of course the teacher noticed and walked over. I thought it was all over for me in this moment, but he just ended up sending Bradley to the office. But the thing is that he still had my pen on him when he left. This guy, 200 IQ, outplayed me and purposefully got sent to the office so he could take the pen for himself. I don't know if that was actually his plan, but that's just what it seemed like to me. Once English ended, I walked into study hall, and this part was the hardest part of the challenge to overcome. If you've had study hall before, you know how silent the class is. So I'm trying to tell these two how I got my pen stolen, but I'm so high I cannot control how loud I'm being, and I just can't communicate what happens. I guess they both deemed that to be smokable, so they both took a hit, and as they exhaled, I couldn't help but just laugh at myself, and I laughed loudly, which alerted the teacher and got Roderick and Kevin caught. But since I got my pen stolen, I got away from it. I didn't have anything on me. They got sent to the front office and I had to wait out the next hour of this class in an excruciating silence, just paranoid that somebody was gonna come after me. But at the end of the day, nothing happened of it, so I technically won the challenge and got to keep the pen. But since it got stolen, I really just got nothing. But I'm glad I won though, because if I had lost, I would have had to fork over $50 and a new pen. So I dodged a bullet there. So while I didn't get anything, at least I didn't lose. When I first started to smoke weed in high school, I would smoke a little too confidently. I really thought highly in my ability to hold my weed and seem like an outwardly functional person. And that overconfidence is how this story starts. Now that I think about it, overconfidence always seems to be the starting place for a lot of my stories. I think I've just got an underdeveloped frontal lobe. Anyways, me and my friends talked the day prior about doing our first wake and bake before school. So I was like, I gotta smoke weed as soon as I awake. And so I did. And I went hard this morning. My philosophy was that I had to smoke enough that it would last the entire school day. So I ripped the fattest bong rips of my life, not even before I left my bed. I got out of the bed and got to my shower, and I just stood under the water for like 20 minutes. This is where I started to think, did I smoke a little too much today? Nah, I think I'm good. I eventually got out of the shower because I started to get munchies for breakfast. You know you're gonna have a crazy day when you get the munchies for breakfast. I then proceeded to eat 3 entire bowls of peanut butter Captain Crunch. I ate so much I felt pregnant. It was a lot of cereal. I got out the door and waited for the bus, and once I got on, I started looking around for my boys. Once I found them, the ugly truth came out. All these dudes were sober. I had been duped. I was the only person that had gone through with the plan, and I couldn't get off this bus. I had no choice but to face this entire school day way higher than I'd ever managed before, all by myself. I felt like a kid who had nobody come to his birthday party. I was alone, dude. To give you an example for how high I really was, the entire bus ride, I just looked at the floor with my eyelids halfway open. I was spacing out of my mind. I felt like I was accepting the warm embrace and darkness of death. Once the bus got to school, I came back to my body and my boys helped me in. We sat in the hallway, and before the school day started, these guys were having a whole Socratic seminar around my lifeless body. How the fuck are we supposed to deal with this problem? I mean, we could make him throw up so he's a little more sober. I don't want to throw up. I don't want to lose my cereal. I ate a lot of it this morning. I got next period with him, so I could just help him out in class there. All right, that sounds good. We'll just try and ride this out the whole day. day. And then the bell rang and I'm practically dragged to my first period. We were in a science class, and luckily for me, we were having one of those days where we just watch National Geographic, and that was about all we did. I sat in the back of the class with my friend, which was being my caregiver for the class, and we had to do these worksheets as we watched through the video, but I ignored them altogether. I even remember the exact video we watched this day. It was a documentary about gorillas called Go Ape. And I couldn't contain myself watching this shit, man. I mean, the monkeys and apes are just so silly, dude. In the way that the narrator talked was so seriously about them. It was killing me. He would say some stuff like,
She's dependent on the bigger male to keep her safe, though he spends most of his time munching leaves.
and I'd be in the back of the class like, and the teacher would just look at me down with these shut up eyes. But I mean, look at this. It's still funny while sober. You cannot blame me for this at all. Just look at the way they look. They're so goofy. So the class ended and I went to the next, which I had the same friend in. So once again, I could have my little guardian to make sure nothing bad happens to little old me. After watching Go Ape, I was feeling good. Normally I would be anxious about getting caught high at school, but this video just put me in the right mindset. Or maybe it was just that I was too high, I couldn't feel negative emotions, I don't know. Anyways, we get to the next class and it's math, so the subject is a little more involved, but again, I was chilling. My friend had to carry all of the stress going in here, which I love him for doing. If it weren't for him, I would have been done for. Thank you very much. 20 minutes into the class, I've got to royally poo in the toilet because of all the milk I drank this morning. So I raised my hand and the teacher is just ignoring me. And in all this time, the anticipation builds in my head for how I'm gonna communicate that I need to go. I just decide this anticipation doesn't feel good. So I get up and walk out of the class. I do my business, and as I'm walking out of the bathroom, some kid is approaching me that the teacher had sent to go and get me. You gotta go back to class, man. All right. I get back to the class and the teacher's like, "What do you think you're doing leaving my classroom?" And I pull out the classic I threwed up card and I get sent to the nurse. So I gotta leave the class again, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't go to the nurse. I just go back to the bathroom and sit on the toilet until lunch. Now, this whole time I'm on the toilet, I'm thinking of a way that I can get out of school before lunch is over. I didn't feel sick at all and I wasn't about to make myself throw up. So my great plan that I had thought up was to go onto Google Images and find an image of a toilet with vomit in it. I know it's gross, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I found the right image that looked identical to the school bathroom, and I showed the image to the nurse, and I was like, I'm sick. I need my mom to pick me up. So my mom comes and picks me up. I won't lie, I felt like I had outsmarted the schooling system this day. That win really stroked my ego. I went home and I just played Fortnite all day, and it was a massive W because I don't take no L's ever. I imagine my friends that day were pretty confused because I had just disappeared. You know, they eventually found out. All right, that's a story. Bye-bye. Edibles are cheeky little buggers. You never know exactly what you'll get from them. Sometimes you'll eat one and feel nothing, sometimes you'll eat one and feel everything, and sometimes you'll eat one, think you feel nothing, so you eat another and another until all you feel is pain everywhere. The trick is simply getting them from trustworthy sources and being a little patient with the gummy. But somehow this seems too hard for most people, myself included. I was neither patient nor safe this fateful afternoon, which made for my most intense edible experience ever. Now, this was back in high school, so getting from a reliable source isn't as easy as it is now. Instead of getting the edibles from a dispensary, you have to get them from Howard, a grade above you, that claims he definitely is the Heisenberg of edibles and can cook up the best stuff. It doesn't help that I was surely at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect curve, where my confidence was at an all-time high with weed and my experience tolerance was very low. I was naive in the face of Howard's homemade edibles, so I bought a batch of them after school, took them home for the weekend, and prepared for an epic freaking time while I had the house to myself. You already know, before I ate these, I was showing them off to the boys. I was like, look at the fresh booty this young boy got his hands on. But I wasn't about wasting time. It was business time. It was time to eat the edibles. I started by just eating one of the 4 I had bought. And right from the moment it touched my tongue, I could taste just how weed infested these brownies were. But I got it down. Then, with every passing second, I analyzed how I felt. And when you think about time that hard, it makes it feel like it passes way slower than it actually does. What feels like 30 minutes is actually 10, and what feels like a weak edible is actually a bombshell that hasn't gone off. So I thought, this one should have hit by now. I guess it's just weak. If this is how 1 feels, I can definitely take an extra 2. And we all know how this goes. As all of these edibles hit at once, my body is instantly, essentially paralyzed. I got the cotton mouth of a lifetime, which marked the only time in my life where I wanted water more than pussy, money, or weed. So I just lay here like, god damn, I didn't sign up for this. So I try and roll over to get my phone and text the boys group chat that I was on my deathbed. But my body couldn't roll over without me using 100% of my brain power to do so. As I picked up my phone, it felt insanely heavy. I had the 40-pound iPhone. The phone was just way too heavy for me to pick up, so I was left with one option. I couldn't text. I had to send a voice memo. Yo, guys, this shit is hitting for real. I think I need help. Send over the reinforcements to my place. I'm dying. Which was a pretty funny message to follow from the previous one. So once the message was out, so was I. My body shut down for I don't even know how long. But when I came back into consciousness, it was like I was viewing myself laying in the bed from a third-person view. This didn't last long though, because I got back to my body pretty quickly. But for a moment there, when I saw myself, I thought that I had died and I was leaving my body, but somehow I rationalized myself out of it and thought, there's no way I'm dying. I'm just on a lot of drugs. People always think they're gonna die when they're like this. I don't know how I was able to rationalize myself out of thinking I was dying, considering how high I was, but I guess I'm just the GOAT. I can just do it. So I look over at my phone and I see that Roman is calling me. What's up, bro? Are you good, bro? Partially. Come over to my house though. So we came over with Cole and Adam, and as they rang the doorbell, I was faced with a real dilemma. Shit. How am I gonna let them into my house? So I tried to stand up, but instantly just fell on the ground. I had to crawl on the ground over to the stairs and I just fell down them. I was way too high. There was honestly no other way I could get down, but I was also so high I didn't feel pain from falling down the stairs, so it was all good. I unlocked the door still on the ground with my toes and then just kicked it as hard as I could to let them know they could come in. The 3 of them stood over my lifeless body and asked, "Bro, are you okay? How do you feel?" So I reached into my pocket and I pulled out the last brownie. "Boys, eat this. You'll know a fraction of what I've been through if you eat this, but I need water first." So I get my water, and surprisingly the 3 of them just split the brownie and ate it like that. I guess high school boys are just that desperate they go feral at the sight of any free weed. I wanted to be transported to the couch, so I got picked up from my limbs and brought over to the most comfy couch I've ever felt. We turned on the TV and the first channel that was on was Paw Patrol. It was incomprehensible to me. Then I got some of the most devilish munchies in my life. So I postmated Chipotle. But at this time, the 3 of these boys were also starting to feel the munchies. Despite eating that small portion of the brownies, it was hitting them enough. So Adam was like, "Bro, I'm so hungry." And my high ass replied, "Oh, me too, don't worry, I'm gonna get Postmates." And I I ordered another Chipotle burrito for me and Adam, forgetting that I had ordered the Postmates prior. I guess the group of these 3 guys picked up on this, so they started to get me to order as much Postmates as they could. Once the burritos started coming in, I'm freaking out because I don't understand where all of these orders are coming from. I thought I had discovered a real-life infinite food glitch because 4 different orders and 7 different burritos were delivered to my house. But alas, it was just my friends sucking me dry of every cent I have. So we got all of our burritos, brought them in a big pile, we held our hands around the burritos, and we prayed for this meal. We prayed to God and thanked him for this bountiful feast we had. And with that, there were 2 extreme lessons I learned this night. Don't buy edibles from Howard, and don't trust your friends. They will try and get as many burritos out of you as they can. Okay, that's the story. Subscribe. Bye. I am a freak of nature. I'm one of those psychotic monsters that just get up at 5:30 a.m., go to the gym for an hour, and when I get home, I just think about how much I want to be back at the gym for the rest of the day. I do this like 6 times per week, which can get to be a rigorous schedule, and after a while can lead to some real burnout. And if burnout is ever affecting you too hard, well, boy, do I have something for you. Going to the gym high can be such a mixed bag depending on how high you are. Too high and you're just a slug that can't do anything. When you're not high enough, you just don't feel any different. But when you're just high enough, you feel like you have full control of every muscle fiber contraction in your body. This is when you're in the beast mode. Your focus is more acute than it has ever been in your life. By the time the next day comes, you can't get out of your bed. You just can't, you can't walk. Now, I've got a story that involves me and 2 of my good buddies, Cole and Roman. We all went to the gym high together. We smoked our weed, we dry scooped our pre-workout, we were all in the zone, cracked, completely accepting of the physical torment we were about to put our bodies through. We were at the highest level of human consciousness at this moment. We had reached full enlightenment. It was pull day, which means we had to work our biceps, our backs, and our forearms. At least that's what we planned on doing. So naturally, the first place you go is the pull-up bar to get some pull-ups in. When we got to the bar, Cole thought up a great idea. All right, guys, so I'm gonna do some pull-ups. Once I get off, someone else gets right on. When they get off, the next person gets on, and then it's back to me. We do this until we can't anymore, and the person that backs out last loses. So you'd think this wouldn't be very high stakes because there's no actual penalty besides losing. As soon as he mentioned this, I knew some real shit was about to go down at this pull-up bar because I just know these guys so well. You see, this little trio of friendship that we all have has been going on for about a decade now. If you've seen One Piece, it's like Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. The 3 of us are the most competitive fucks that I know. We had our pride on the line here. Cole jumps up and bangs out about 12 pull-ups. I jump on, I do about the same myself, and so does Roman. The second time around, we're a little weaker, but we're still going strong. We each can get out about like 6 to 8 pull-ups. Third time around, we're starting to get a little gassed. There's really no time for breaks between these sets, so we all can probably get around 3 or 4 at this time. After that, we're only getting 2 pull-ups in each for a few times around, and we add it all up, and we've done about 60 pull-ups at this time between the 3 of us. At this point, we are fried. All right, guys, we gotta make it to 100. We gotta make it to 100 pull-ups. We're almost there. We're at 60. We gotta push through. We can only do a single pull-up each before we pass it on to the next person at this point. So the time for resting has shrunken to the absolute minimum it can before somebody has to tap out. After an excruciating amount of pull-ups, we finally make it to 100 on Cole's turn. But then he stays on the bar. And after only doing a single pull-up per turn for the past like 5 turns, he looks within himself and he finds the monster. He builds enough strength to bang out 2 pull-ups in 1 turn, putting us at a total of 101 pull-ups. All right, guys, we can't just leave it at 101. We gotta go to 110 pull-ups. At this point, we can't even do pull-ups completely. We just jump up and slowly go down, and then 110 comes. And by the time it does, whoever's on the bar just does another one and brings it to 111. And then we do that all the way to 120, and then we have to go to 130, and then that goes all the way up until in total, we had completed 203 total pull-ups between the three of us. This was the limit. We were all done at this point until we went to the dips, and then the whole thing started over again until we did 250 consecutive dips. And then we all proceeded to fucking die. I had never felt a workout this much in my life, and we went home only having done 2 exercises. And you know we had to get that post-workout Chipotle. When it's just right, weed just brings out the demon in me at the gym. Anyways, you better go to the gym right goddamn now. Bye-bye.
What's up, boys? Got another video here at the end. Once again, is a thank you because we got 20,000 subscribers. It's been a long time coming to get to this point. Took us about 12 hours since the last thank you for 10K. So, here's another one. Subscribe.
I've mentioned how getting high at school can be stressful, but getting high at work is just fucked. I mean, at school, you just have to be quiet and keep your head down and hope nobody notices. At work, you actually have to do work, so the difficulty and the risk factors are way higher in my opinion, especially if you're working in some kind of retail job, because then you got to communicate with other human beings. In my case, I served my time as an honorary Safeway employee, and the job made me want to kill myself. I swear, human beings were not built for the 9-to-5 minimum wage grind. These jobs will just suck the goddamn soul out of you like no other. If I didn't smoke at work, I would have gone bananas. Now, I've smoked a good few amount of times while at work, but there was one particular day where I got a little confident in my ability and smoked too much. I had an 8-hour shift ahead of me from 2 to 10, where I had to alternate each hour from sweeping and cleaning. The thing about these days is that they were by far the easiest days on the job, hence the overconfidence. I got to work, started smoking, and clocked in. And the beginning of my shift went pretty well. I was sweeping like a king. I was cleaning like a king. Eventually, the monotony got to me after an hour or so I smoked a little more. Almost instantly, I knew I smoked a little too much. I'd be going around to each of the store's little departments, forgetting if I had cleaned them or not. I'd be sweeping every other aisle without realizing I was. It was bad. Eventually, once I got to cleaning the bathroom, I just locked myself in there and sat on the toilet to collect my thoughts. Alright, I'm obviously way too high right now to do my job. What can I do about this? Well, I could eat food, but then I'd have to wait until my break. Or I could just sneak a little treat. I need to find a way to avoid work. I think letting time do its thing is the best play here. So I left the bathroom with this plan to finish my cleaning and then just hide in the break room until the next hour came and I had to sweep. As I was walking through the store, I walked by the bakery and those goddamn donuts were just enticing to me. I couldn't resist the urge to just take a donut, but I didn't think any further past that. So I grabbed the donut, but I couldn't eat it because people would see that I was eating the donut and stealing it. So quickly, I thought up the idea to just shove the donut into my pocket and then I would eat it once I got to the break room. I went on to do my job, but then I saw my manager approach me. Oh fuck, she knows I'm high, bro. She knows I'm high. She knows about the donut too. It's all over. I'm gonna lose my fucking job.
Excuse me, but Jared told me that you didn't clean the toilet.
When I had went into the bathroom earlier, I forgot to clean it, and this goddamn guy Jared narked me out. Oh, my bad. I'll go and do that now. Then I had to go back to the bathroom and watch Jared teach me how to clean a toilet. I was just watching this man filled with real, unfiltered primal rage. See, man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Fuck you, Jared. Afterward, I went to the break room as planned and I ate this nasty donut that had been sitting in my pocket for the past 10 minutes. But my plan to hide here was successful. Once it was time to do my sweeps, I barely swept. I won't even lie, but I finished it in like 10 minutes and then I hid in the break room for the next 50. The next time I had to go to the bathroom to clean it, I was like, I really gotta clean this toilet well or else Jared is gonna come for my ass again. So what I did next was look through the storage closet for a literal product called elbow grease. I was too high to realize that elbow grease was not an actual thing. So I went over to Jared and I was like, hey bro, I can't find that elbow grease. And he just stared at me for like 3 seconds of silence. And then I saved it and went, I'm joking. And I just walked away. I still thought that elbow grease was a thing. I didn't put it together. I just was gonna go and clean it without the elbow grease. I ended up doing my little break room exploit for the rest of the day, and by the end of my shift, I was feeling sober. On my way home when I was driving, I realized, wait a minute. See man, you just gotta put a little elbow grease into it just like this. Damn. Fuck you, Jared. College dorms are terrible. I'd rather sleep on the sidewalk than be in the living conditions these places put the students through. My college is just horrible. I could go on about this for a while, but on campus, there was one dorm that was actually livable, and that's the honors dorm. I won't lie, my high school performance was not good, but during my freshman year of college, I got put into the honors dorm for weird COVID reasons, probably. But I didn't complain. I didn't choose to be born God's favorite. This was the first time I had full independence too. I mean, everyone did. This is just what you do. You smoke in the college dorm. Even the honors kids were doing it. It's crazy. So it's one of the first months of college and I'm at this little get together at some other dude's dorm. I don't know who was there. I hardly remember these people, but there was one guy that's important and that's my main man, Adam. We were smoking, drinking, doing all that, but there was hardly anything happening. It was like a 7-person get together just watching two guys play Call of Duty. So Adam and I are like, this is ass, we gotta get out of here and make something happen. So the two of us leave the function, and the thing about this dude's place is it's on a different floor of the building than we lived on. The floor of the dorms that houses the dorm gym. For COVID reasons, this gym was locked and closed, so no one could use it, but we were in the honors dorms. We thought we could use our bright little heads to figure out a way in. There were 2 doors into the gym, and we noticed a difference between the two. The part of the door with the latch had a little 1/2-inch opening on one door, while the other door had no space to work with. So we started trying different ways to open this door. One person would be on it while the other would look out. You already know, these honors kids, they would have narked if they had seen us, so we were on our toes. We were trying different ways to push this latch down so we could just open the door and get a little pump. We tried to push it down with our fingers. We tried the good old credit card trick, but nothing worked. Then Adam comes up with this genius idea. He takes out one of the laces from his shoe, throws one end around the latch, and basically has a little lasso around this thing. He pulls on it and it slides the latch down for a second before it goes back up. So we do it again, but as we pull the shoelace, we twist the knob and pull the door at the same time and it opened. This moment was my peak. I don't think I've ever felt so accomplished and smart since. And I wasn't even the one who came up with the idea. So we get into this little dorm gym and it feels so unreal. We're all giddy, running around the place. The scary thing though is that the automated lights turned on as we walked in there, but we thought we'd be fine as long as people didn't see us through the door. Before we start using the gym, we run back to my dorm and we come back with a paper towel and some tape. We fold up the paper towel so it's thick enough to be used as a door stopper, and we put some tape around it to keep it there. So we're in the gym getting the pump of a lifetime. You could say we were too high in the gym. Shout out to myself. But after about 10 minutes, we start to hear the door open. There isn't supposed to be anyone able to get into this place. I mean, the doors were locked. And as the door opens, a janitor steps in for some reason. I don't know why he would clean this place. I mean, no one's been in here all semester, but a janitor just decides to walk in at this moment. The 3 of us lock eye contact for a second, and he's like, how'd you guys get in here? Oh, you know, it was just unlocked, man. Yeah, we saw the lights on and we just thought it must have opened up. He told us to get out, but I won't lie, I feel like we had a pretty convincing case on our side looking back on it. In the moment though, we didn't feel so confident. It may have been the weed talking, but we felt so paranoid that they would check the cameras or something and see us. Nothing ended up happening of it, and the little paper towel door stopper was still there, so the two of us essentially had created our own personal gym to use any time for the rest of the school year. Okay, that's the story. Bye! Are you ever sitting in class thinking to yourself, damn, I'd rather do anything? Half the time, it's not even the class itself that's uninteresting. The teacher's just an old fart person. When he opens his mouth, cobwebs and flies come out. One Tapatio sauce drop and you'll have a new teacher and a criminal charge. I've had these teachers, and that's why I smoke K-ass weed in their classes. Why did I write that in the script? So last semester, this class was Philosophy 101. I'm not gonna lie, I had a bussin' grade in this class, but I really didn't care about it. It was a waste of time, to be honest. This guy would just talk about some dead dude's idea for an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, I can think of most of these things on my own as an intellectual. Now, there was one day I was not having it. I snapped. I went bananas. I could not sit through another lecture talking about Socrates and his bullshit. I couldn't miss though because I needed a good grade. So I did what had to be done. I pulled out some of that good stuff. You know what I mean? That magic. In all honesty, I did way more than I should have. Every time I thought about how awful this class was going to be, I felt I wasn't high enough. So I get to the point where I'm baked like a fresh tray of cookies coming out of the oven. It was about a 5-minute walk to class from my dorm, so I started heading over, and as I'm walking, I'm realizing how high I really am. I keep staring at the floor and thinking, I'm grateful this floor is here to support me right now. Once I get in class, I sit in the back. It's a pretty big lecture hall, so I knew I could blend in easily. So once I sit down, the lecture starts and the professor pulls up his presentation. I am immersed in the way the slides look. I don't know why, but I just feel excited. I feel like this was going to be the time of my life. The professor starts talking about Descartes and says he was known for the whole phrase, I think, therefore I am. Now, the professor kept on talking, but I just kept on this phrase in my mind. I start feeling my own thoughts and asking myself, am I my thoughts or am I my body? I start asking if my thoughts are even my own or if they're someone else's. This idea feels brilliant to me. I feel like I need to express it. I raise my hand in the middle of the lecture. The professor looks directly at me and calls on me. And I think to myself, fuck, what did I just do? But there's nothing left to do but carry out my plan. So I ask, how do we know if our thoughts are really us? Then the professor just stares at me in silence for what feels like 30 seconds. I feel like it's the most obvious thing in the world that I am high right now, and this teacher is looking right at me. I feel like it's already too late. He already knows. Then someone saves me. Someone else raises their hand and the professor's attention was diverted. This guy is a hero. He's my hero. He starts taking my idea seriously and trying to debate the professor on it. Before I know it, the whole class is getting involved in this discussion, and I'm just so high I barely understand what I've started. Eventually, the hour's over and the lecture ends. But as it ends, the professor asks me to talk to him after class. Now I really know it's over for me. I walk down to the front while everyone else is leaving. I feel like a warrior marching to his grave. When I get to the front, the professor asks me, will you remind me of your name? Now, I'm not gonna go down without a fight. If he doesn't even know my name, he can't report me. So I use the alias of the guy who was sitting next to me to take this fall. My name is Kyle. Well, Kyle, I would like to talk to you about your question today in class. Thank you for being so engaging and starting a stimulating discussion. So I'm gonna give you 3 extra credit points in this class. I just thanked him and headed out after giving this stranger my rightfully deserved extra credit points. After that, I actually just kept going to class high because anything I thought of or said while high would make people think I was really wise and intelligent, apparently. I think it really just goes to show how philosophy classes really are. Alright, bye! I went to a farm and did za. Remember when I said I was going to Iowa? That wasn't a lie. A month ago, I packed my bags with every prized possession I own, and then, boom, I landed in Iowa, where Roman, the cutthroat, bone-smashing big back, picked me up and drove me to the corn farm. Now, here's the kicker about the state of Iowa. They don't got legalized za. So I'm in the car sweating profusely, twiddling my fingers and blushing a little bit like, Roman, how are we gonna get the stuff? How are we gonna do it? But he reassured me he had the methods. He looked me up and down and said, don't worry, I have the methods, which I found very reassuring. So we pull up to the farmland and do a few days of farming. I don't know a thing about farming, so when they do they work, I just stand idle like the red Lego guy. But then the day came. The day Roman would show me his methods and we could have fun and play with each other. He brings me to his uncle's house on the farm and we acquire gummies via the cutthroat Unk method. Roman's uncle gave us the hookup. We pay our thanks to Mr. Cutthroat Unk for bestowing us gummies and tiptoe out the front door, just in case the police heard our footsteps. But once we securely took the package back to our place on the farm, it was time to get freaky. The average human being would probably think the only thing to do in Iowa at night is get eaten by monsters in the cornfields and visit the Field of Screams. But I'm not the average person, and I had a plan. You see, farms have these little vehicles called mules, which are literally just golf carts. I wanted to do this edible and drive to the only location that existed in this goofy small town, and that's Casey's gas station. I hadn't been high in like 3 months, and I was prepared for the hella munchies. And so we ate this edible and watched the Teen Titans Go movie until they started to hit. Fast forward a bit, and once I was starting to develop feelings for Starfire, I knew it was game time. Brother, are you ready to do this shit? Most definitely. We get our things and frantically bolt to the door, but we both fucking stop in our fucking tracks because right before our eyes was Roman's cat Manhole. Bro really named his cat Manhole. But Manhole was mad cute, bro, on some type shit, you feel me? He was on some, you want a little treat, Manhole? And upon inspection into the cabinet, we had only whole wheat bread. Manhole, I'm so sorry you're gonna have to starve to death. Nah, bro, nah. We gotta get him snacks. Snacks from the gas station. You don't mean, oh, I mean. You see, Manhole loves hot dogs. And what's at the gas station but $4 hot dogs? So now the move is to get our little asses in the mule and travel all the way to Casey's to acquire the $4 hot dog so that Roman's cat could enjoy his favorite snack. The two of us say a heartfelt goodbye to Manhole as we hop in the mule and begin our travels. The nearest gas station was like 15 miles away, and the mule only goes about 30 miles an hour, but I wasn't about to drive this thing at top speed. That sounded scary. So we had about an hour-long journey through the dark, desolate corn and soybean fields to get this hot dog. And let me tell you, when you're off the Unk gummy in the pitch black darkness, it makes you think skinwalkers are about to abduct you. It's straight up like a liminal space. When I say it's all corn and soybeans, I mean it. The terrain is Minecraft super flat with miles of farmland stretched out as far as you can see. There'd be an occasional farmhouse we'd pass, but the only thing to really focus on was the windmills that would flash red lights at you all in unison. I straight up thought supernatural entities were about to eat me alive and stop me from getting my hot dog. This shit was getting to my head until Roman was like, you wanna listen to some music? Oh yeah, bro, what do you wanna listen to? And he plays the goofiest banjo tunes I done ever heard in my life, but something about them put my mind at ease. We felt like real farmers with this stuff playing. And after a bit of driving, I happened to spot something with my little engorged eyes. The mule came to a screeching halt and I'm like, bro, do you see that? No. Look, right there. Look, right there. And Roman's gross jaw fell to the ground because what we had just run into was some weed lying on the ground just asking to be stolen, which sounds far-fetched, but I'll get to it. Now, the two of us have an IQ of 140 combined. And I didn't realize this wasn't actually weed. It was a marijuana plant which grows as like an invasive species or something. You can't actually smoke this stuff and get high. But again, combined to 140 IQ. Oh my god, there's no fucking way, bro! We gotta steal this shit. We need every last bit. So we start pulling the weed out of the damn soil and loading the mule up with it. We were driving away with plants hanging out the sides of the doors thinking we just hit the jackpot. I start doing a little bit of trolling yelling like, you know, Roman, if you eat those things, you'll get a little bit high. That's how edibles work. Holy dude, no way. Roman starts fucking that food up, eating the plants as we proceed with this journey. We pull up to the gas station, get out, and have a moment to lock in and pretend to be sober. If this gas station employee had even an inkling that we were high, they'd probably call the cops and put us in prison. That's just the Iowa culture. Stakes were high here. We enter the building and immediately, I don't know where the hot dogs are. It's in the dead of night and we're the only ones in there, so the gas station dude starts hitting us with some lethal southern hospitality like, what brings you folks in here so late? I never seen you two. Oh, you know, we're just hungry. What would you guys want? Hamburger. Oh shit, I can't go back on this. I fucked up. No, we want the $4 hot dog. I thought I'd be suspicious if I said my order wrong, so I doubled down like, no, I want the hamburger. He wants the $4 hot dog. Well, I'm sorry, but we don't have hamburgers, but I can get you that hot dog. And now I look real sus because who not just goes to a gas station for hamburgers but doubles down on it? There's not a gas station on earth that has hamburgers. I had to get out of there, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go look somewhere else, which sounded like I was gonna leave, but I was just going to the candy aisle while Roman got the hot dog. And looking at those chocolate bars, I felt myself going non-verbal and feeling paralyzed. But something about them made me laugh. The Hershey's made me start chuckling to myself because I was thinking about Mr. Beast Feastables, and I thought it would be really funny to ask the guy if they had Feastables. I wasn't about to actually do that, but I did text Roman, bro, what if we asked for Mr. Beast Feastables? And then from the other side of the gas station, I hear, yo, do you guys have the Mr. Beast chocolates? And I start holding my face trying not to laugh. I looked like a psychopath. I didn't think he'd actually ask on my behalf. So as Roman gets that hot dog and leaves, I follow behind before this dude stops me like, you didn't want anything? And I couldn't talk at this point. I was cooked. So I just gave this guy a cheeky smile as we both just walked out. He probably thought that we just robbed him because as soon as we got out, we both just sprinted right back to the mule. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from my big dog Roderick and I reject that shit immediately and whip the mule back to the farm. And overall, I'd say that interaction was like a 3 out of 10. But now we finally had the hot dog and we were on our way to give it back to Manhole. Roman had to put his banjo music back on to regulate our nervous systems from the gas station incident. And halfway through the drive home, we had something happen that didn't happen on the drive there. We started to see headlights approaching us on the road. This was the first car we've seen and I thought, it's the fucking police. This guy called the fucking police on us. Dude, our car is full of weed. We're fucked. So we pull over and turn the headlights off, going incognito mode, throwing all the marijuana plants on the ground. In this frenzy, Roman dropped the hot dog on the ground. All the condiments and buns fall off and it gets all dirty. This hot dog is no longer edible. And on top of that, we forgot to turn the banjo music off as this car is approaching. It luckily just passed us and it was not a cop, but that was a real scare. And the rest of the drive home was just depressing because of the travesty that just happened to our dog. But we made it back alive and rinsed that shit off for Manhole to enjoy. Giving the cat his snack was a success, but we forgot to retrieve munchie food, so the two of us just ate our whole wheat bread for the rest of the night and crashed out. This was the most depressing night of my life. Being an Iowa crash out isn't good for the soul. So the lesson today is don't be a farmer because they don't have Postmates out there. Okay, bye.